Hey, Scott here, and welcome back to the channel. So in my most recent videos, I gave you some thoughts on what you can be working on over the winter to get yourself prepared for the 2026 golf season. And I produced another video that discussed strength standards, which not really directly for golfers, but for regular people. And then I kind of translated that into what golfers should consider doing in their own training to make themselves better golfers, which basically means you should lift weights to help you get stronger, and that can help you hit the ball further, which can translate into better golf. In any event, so last year in the spring, I produced a video of how I go through training the deadlift for a particular session. And so I'm going to share that video with you here. And I'm hoping to get back into being able to deadlift in the next couple of weeks. I meet with my surgeon as a follow-up to my colon surgery, and next week I meet with him and I'll discuss with him what I can start doing as far as my heavier training goes. I've already started lifting weights again, but I'm avoiding the deadlift and the squat because of how much the core muscles are engaged in those two lifts, and so I don't want to ruin the surgery work that's been done. In any event, let's go ahead and get to the video. And if you get anything out of it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and visit scottcolegolf.com. Thanks for watching. Hey, Scott here, and welcome back to my very humbled and quite cluttered garage gym. We had a family member passed away a while ago, and so we have a lot of his stuff in our garage until we can find another home for it. So the garage gym is a little bit crowded these days, and I'm a little bit messy as it is anyway. Today I want to cover how I train the deadlift. For many people my age, and even I guess I would say over the age of 40, the deadlift is probably the most maligned exercise out there. There's a lot of misinformation about it, and a lot of that misinformation comes from people who don't really know how to train it properly or to actually teach how to train it. So today I'm going to go over some of the points I've learned on how to train the deadlift, which is an exercise that I train to keep my back strong. And I actually have had a back issue for about 20 years. Suffered from a herniated disc back then. I was a former competitive golfer, so I think that was probably the root cause of the issue, plus sitting at a desk job basically my whole professional life. So I have a perfect excuse to not train this exercise, but I still do. There are times when I do not train it if my back is feeling quite out of whack, and what happens with my back is it's actually the hips that get out of alignment. That causes tilt in the hips, puts pressure on the lower lumbar, and that can ultimately result in a herniated disc that just feels awful, and I can barely walk when that happens. So if anybody has an excuse to avoid this exercise, I'm one of those people, but I still do it because I believe in training this exercise for overall strength and building muscle. So I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be as far as training this because of that exercise, but I'm a lot stronger because I do train the exercise in spite of my back issue. So with that said, you can take all that with a grain of salt and avoid it if you want yourself. But for building general strength, which I feel is really important for people my age and above. I'm 59 now. And for building muscle, which is crucial for quality of life. This is one of the base exercises that you should be doing if you can. Okay, so first of all, getting set up. What I do is I set up with the bar over the center of my feet, and my toes are pointed out probably at about a 30-degree angle so that my heels are about 8 to 10 inches apart. So then I drop down and I grab the bar, basically just bending over first. The next movement is I bend the knees until my shins hit the bar. And while I'm doing that, I push my stomach down and then I lift my chest. So I'm looking forward, and this causes my back to get nice and straight. We do not want to be pulling this bar off the floor with a rounded back. That's where a lot of the injuries are going to occur if you do get injured doing a deadlift. So the reality is I've injured my back more just bending over and picking something up than I've ever injured my back doing a deadlift. So the most recent occurrence I had was I wasn't paying attention. I bent over and picked up a 25-pound weight and screwed up my back for a few days. So when you have a fragile back like that, that's basically, you have to pay attention to what you're doing. So you need to pay attention to what you're doing with training this exercise as well. So again, the bar is over the center of my feet. My toes are pointed out about 30 degrees. My feet, the heels are about 8 to 10 inches apart. So that's the measurement that I pay attention to most closely. I grab the bar slightly wider than shoulder width so that when I ultimately squat down a little bit and turn the knees out, I've got room to shove those knees out while I'm still holding the bar. So I reach down and grab the bar a little wider than shoulder width. Now I bend the knees until the shins hit the bar. I feel like my stomach is pushing down and my chest is reaching up. Now the first thing I do is I want to lift up slightly, push up slightly from the floor with the feet, making sure my arms are tight and straight. And then I push up further with the feet and pull the bar up my shins and up my thigh into the top position. And then I drop it back down with the same motion going down. And then I reset the position. So when you go back down, you don't want to bounce right back up. You reset the position to make sure your back is nice and tight. Your chest is up, your eyes are up forward, and the shins are up against the bar. And then you're pulling the bar up your shins and up your thigh into that top position. And you want to pull your shoulders back at that top position as well, so that you're feeling like your shoulder blades are pinching together into that position. So this is my warm-up weight. I'm going to do 5 reps at 135. I've got one plate on each side. And then what I do is I progress. Today I'm doing my heavy deadlift. So I try to train the deadlift Wednesdays and Saturdays. Today is heavy day, so I'll do one heavy set of 5 at the end of this routine. So I warm up first with 135 with 5 reps. Then I'll go 185 for 3, 225 for 2, and then I'm going to go a single rep at 245 and a single rep at 265 before I do my final set at 285 for 5 reps. Okay, so I'll just take you through the rest of the video with those sets. Okay, so that's my first warm-up set, and then I'm going to progress up to my top set. Okay, it's time for my working set. I put some chalk on the hands, get a better grip, and I use an alternate grip when I train my heavy set. So here goes. Okay, got that out of the way, and I'll make a few comments as soon as I catch my breath. Okay, welcome back. So, finished that top set at 285. A little bit of a grind today. This is usually the level where it starts to get hard for me, and you know, you just got to consistency is the key as far as training this exercise. The most I've ever deadlifted for a set of 5 is 325, and that's been a good while ago, probably last year. And this year I haven't trained it very consistently at all, so I'm hoping I can start making more progress with it to the end of the year and see if I can set a new PR for that set of 5, and then my top single was 355. So the other way that I train this is I'm gonna deadlift again on Saturday. Saturday my focus is on mainly building a little bit of more muscle through adding a little bit of volume. So I cut way back on the weight. So this Saturday I'll be doing 3 sets of 5 at 230. And I give myself about 2.5 to 3 minutes rest in between those 3 sets. So I'll be alternating these workouts for as long as I can. I have off days now and then where I don't fit in both deadlift workouts, but I at least try to get that heavy set of 5 in once a week. So I started back up with the deadlift I think about a month ago. I didn't train it at all most of the spring and summer, so my priorities were a little bit different back then, so now I've changed. So again, so Wednesday is my heavy deadlift day. The rest of the workout I focus on shoulders and arms. And then Saturday I'll deadlift again, my light deadlift day, 3 sets of 5. And this Saturday it'll be at 230. And then each week I hope to add 5 pounds to each workout. So next Wednesday the heavy set will be with 290, and we'll see how that goes. And of course, this all depends on how my back is feeling at the time. So hope you enjoyed and got a little information out of this video. Understand the key points are positioning over the bar. Again, the heels are about 8 to 10 inches apart in the back. The toes are pointed out about 30 degrees. The shins should be up against the bar as you're getting ready to pull it. Push the stomach down, chest up. Make sure you push off with the feet about an inch to make sure your arms are straight. You don't want to start the pull with a bend in your arms. I'm sure I did that in some of these sets, but you want to try and get those arms pretty straight before you start to pull. And feel like you're pushing your feet into the floor and driving into the floor as the bar is coming up. Pull the bar up your shins, up your thighs into that top position, and pull the shoulder blades back into the lockout position. So that's how you deadlift. Start very conservatively if you've never done this before, so that we're not rushing into trying to train this with a heavy weight. Your body has to adapt to that. This exercise puts more stress on the central nervous system than any other exercise. That's why we only need that heavy set of 5 each week to make progress for a while. And then we adjust the programming down the road. So when I have to do that, I'll do another video.